What is going on, everyone? This is NinjaGeek here. Welcome back to another video. I know it's been a while since the last video, but I'm glad for all of you that are sticking with me and bearing with me here, because I actually did just start back up at college, and, obviously that takes a lot of time. I'm trying my best to do all of the work for that so far, because, obviously if you've taken college before, once you do that and you start, you're pretty much, the train is rolling, and you just have to continue on and keep up with all of the work. Besides college, I'm also working as well, and on top of that, I'm also working right now on trying to edit a feature film, which is going fairly well. It's not like my own, but I am editing someone else's, and it's going pretty well as of right now. So I'm working on a lot of stuff, and then beyond that, I'm sure you don't really care about this, but another shout out to Steven Weeks, because my car is in the shop again, and right now, hopefully, as of the time that I'm recording this, I'm still trying to find out what exactly is the problem with it, but I'm not going to go into the details on that. I should hear back very shortly, actually, on what that is, but a big shout out to you, Steven, because you've really helped me out in trying to figure out what the exact, causes could be, and even if, there's a lot of things to go through, at least I have an idea as to what part of what I can, decipher out of what I can get out of that, instead of having nowhere to look at all and trying to figure it out all on my own. So, that is that, but today, nonetheless, 2 minutes into the video, I want to get started on a Modern Warfare 4 wish list, because as you may know, if you have been watching for a while now, I don't like Black Ops 4, and I haven't played Call of Duty, honestly, in a long time. I actually haven't even touched video games in a little bit, but overall, I don't like Black Ops 4, and I think that the next Call of Duty game is going to be Modern Warfare 4. Now, there are other rumors out there that have been kind of denied. Well, it's going to be a Ghost 2. That kind of rumor got shot down. And then there were rumors and stuff that it was going to be Infinite Warfare 2 or something new. But I truly believe it's going to be Modern Warfare 4. And then going with that, what kind of things do I want to see in Modern Warfare 4? What is my wish list? I know it's kind of early on, and there could be a lot more stuff that are added to this. And let me know your thoughts down below in the comments on what you think about my wish list and what you would like to see personally in Modern Warfare 4. But I'm just going to start off here. I already made the list, so let's get into it. The first thing, and if you've been watching me for a while, you know what I'm going to say here. The first thing is no specialists. No specialists of any kind. I don't want to see anything like the combat rigs from Infinite Warfare. I don't want to see the specialists from Black Ops 3. I don't want to see the specialists from Black Ops 4. Nothing with the word, well, actually I shouldn't say that, because we'll get into that a little bit later on, but no specialist characters that have these abilities that you give out for free. I don't like that. And Modern Warfare has never obviously had that, because it's something that was introduced to us back in Black Ops 3. So, then again, I don't think that it would have it in the first place, but I have to mention it here because, we've had it in these recent Call of Duty games, and the first few points, actually, we've had in the recent Call of Duty games, and not necessarily in Modern Warfare at all, so they wouldn't really have a chance to be. But then again, you never know with the newer technology. They could say, yeah, let's add this to the game and see how it is and change it up in a way that most of us probably would not appreciate. So the next thing I obviously have on this list is no death streaks. Now, you might say, well, they removed death streaks all the way back in, I think it was Black Ops 2, they actually removed the death streaks. They might have had one or so. No, I think it was Black Ops 2. Yeah, Black Ops 2 completely got rid of the idea of any kind of perk as a death streak or death streaks themselves. And a lot of people were very excited for that day when that finally came and we had no death streaks in the game. And the reason I say no death streaks are because all of the Modern Warfare series, well, aside from COD 4, which had perk-like death streaks, but Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 had actual death streaks that you would earn, and they're pretty much obviously what you would assume. If you take a kill streak and you're getting kills, well, the same thing would happen if you died over and over and over again. You'd get rewarded, and nobody likes that. That's not fun. Now, I don't really think they would honestly put this in Modern Warfare 4 because they have learned that it's been years since death streaks were even in Call of Duty, but I just have to mention it here because, you know, the last Modern Warfare game to have it, of course, was Modern Warfare 3, and that was the last Modern Warfare game, period, and that game had death streaks, so you never know with these developers what they might do. Absolutely no death streaks. Number 3 on this list, I think, you know, it kind of makes sense going off of a Modern Warfare game. So I don't really think this one's going to be a huge problem, but no advanced movement, of course, not really going to be a huge problem if you're talking about a Modern Warfare game, but again, you never know, so I just have to mention it. And the next point is no Battle Royale. Now, there are a few reasons for this as to why I say this, and some people might view this in a negative light, like, well, why are you shaming the Battle Royale community? You know, even if you don't like the game or the game mode, you know, people might want to play a Modern Warfare Battle Royale, and then you just don't have to play it. You don't have to say that the game shouldn't have one in general, but I disagree with that because, well, number one, here's the thing about it. Activision knows that Blackout is like the Call of Duty Battle Royale, so why would they try and force Infinity Ward to make a Battle Royale game to basically compete with Call of Duty's already Battle Royale game that's already out? Now, you know, I've heard that there are, you know, some problems with Blackout, of course, you know, whatever the case may be, but still they're going to always improve upon that for the people that play a Blackout. And the only thing I could assume as to what they would actually do is to put maps, or parts of old reimagined maps from Infinity Ward into Blackout. I can see that happening, but as far as a Battle Royale, a separate Battle Royale mode in Modern Warfare 4, no, I don't see that happening, number one, but I don't want it to happen as well, and the reason is because this year, Treyarch is really strapped, and they're kind of not updating the game as they usually do and should, just because they have the teams working on so much, and they're stretched out across all 3 game modes, and Infinity Ward should not have to do that. Even though they brought back the teams from, or the people who worked on the older Modern Warfare games like Modern Warfare 2 and such, they still don't have the resources and the employees to be stretched across that amount of game modes. So what they should focus on is just a classic campaign, which I believe is what they are going to do, and that's another point that I actually don't have on this list, but, you know, a new campaign. I don't assume that they're going to be remastering anything specifically for Modern Warfare 4. They're probably, of course, going to do Modern Warfare 2 remastered and stuff like that with the older campaigns, but specifically for Modern Warfare 4, I believe they're going to have another campaign that continues along somewhat of the story, or starting even a new storyline in the Modern Warfare franchise, who knows. But getting back to Battle Royale, you know, instead of that, if they had campaign, they wouldn't have to focus that much in the latter production of Modern Warfare 4, and they could focus on multiplayer and whatever the third game mode is. Which leads me to my next point. I want Spec Ops / survival in the game. Now, I did make a specific video about this, but basically I would prefer them to have the Spec Ops / survival over a zombies mode. Now, I would gladly take both of them, or even Extinction or something. But if I only had to pick one, I really want a Spec Ops / survival mode to come back, and they could do so much more with it than what they actually did in Modern Warfare 3. And we already have zombies in so many other Call of Duty games, ranging from Advanced Warfare into Black Ops 3, even Infinite Warfare, World War II, and Black Ops 4, that what's the point of having another zombies game mode? I think it's time to return or introduce something that we haven't seen in a long time that goes along with the Modern Warfare series. So please, Spec Ops / survival, and don't try and stick zombies in the Modern Warfare universe. I don't really think that, I mean, people would like it, and I myself would probably enjoy it, but I think that a Spec Ops would better fit, and I would like to see that overall. For the next majority on this list, it's going to be dealing with multiplayer aspects, which I think is going to be the meat and potatoes of this video. The first point that I have here is the normal 100 health. Obviously, in Black Ops 4, Treyarch changed that formula and made a 150 health, which is more dynamically able to tune the weapons to a 150 health. But the problem is that I think, and most other people think as well, that 150 is just way too long of a time to kill, and Infinity Ward usually isn't known for having a high time to kill, so I really doubt they would put 150 health in Modern Warfare 4. But the next point that I have is about the health regeneration, and this is a big one that I can see being implemented into Modern Warfare 4, and that is the manual health that we have in Black Ops 4. Now, obviously I don't know, and this is all speculation, but that is a feature that is pretty much new, of course, to Black Ops 4, but sometimes the developers take ideas from each other, just sort of how an example would be like adding kill confirmed in Modern Warfare 3 and how it's a staple game mode, throughout the Call of Duty series, even up until now. Well, I just hope that the manual health not regeneration, but the manual healing itself does not carry forward to every single Call of Duty game. It was an interesting idea to test out for Black Ops 4. It's probably cool in competitive play, but when you're just playing multiplayer, it's extremely frustrating to multitask between healing and reloading. I personally think that Call of Duty was just better with the automatic health regeneration. Nothing really needed to be changed. And plus, on a further note, Modern Warfare, of course, always had the auto health regeneration. And in Black Ops 4, I can see why they would have some sort of a manual health, system, because it's more set along the lines of a future aspected game. It's not so far in the future, but it is future aspected. That way, that, they could have that technology to manually heal, but I don't think that would really come to Modern Warfare 4, but I do have to mention it as far as a gameplay standard. I'd rather see the automatic health regeneration. Obviously, a main focus on multiplayer. It kind of goes back with what I said about Blackout, and not including that game mode so they can have a lot more focus on multiplayer, so I hope that support is on the way for Modern Warfare 4. Of course, even with Infinite Warfare, we did see classic weapons return from their older Call of Duty games, and I feel like if they add in classic weapons to Modern Warfare 4, of course they're going to do that because it makes sense. It's the Modern Warfare series. They would have guns from the previous Modern Warfare games, but it would also be cool to add in special guns that were higher tier. Like maybe they add in a prestige thing where if you get to a certain prestige level, you unlock the ACR from Modern Warfare 3, because obviously that thing was probably the best gun in Modern Warfare 3. Stuff like that where they can add in the older guns, but then have, of course, new guns as well. You don't want to just have the same old guns, but at the same time, just make it diverse. And I think Infinity Ward is very well known for being diverse and a lot of fun when adding in certain content like that into the game. The next point is the classic maps, and there's a huge, asterisk here that I have to mention, because Black Ops 4 did add a lot of remake maps, and they added them not within DLC, and they're not actual, remakes as far as, changing the aesthetics of the maps, but they're pretty much the same maps, except with better graphics, and that is what I would love to see in Modern Warfare 4. And it would be nice if they also offered those as free DLC and not as part of special DLC packs or whatever that you actually have to pay for, since they were maps that we have already played on. But then at the same time, I don't want to see Modern Warfare 4 clustered with old maps and then half of them are just new maps. If they want to add in older remake maps, I'm perfectly fine with that, but at the same time, they need to have a ton of new maps along with the remakes, and I would hopefully suggest maybe 15 or 16 brand new maps for Modern Warfare 4, and then maybe they decide that they want to add in 2 or 3 or even 4 remakes at launch or later down the line for Modern Warfare 4. That would be, excellent if they could do that, because recently in these recent Call of Duties, maps are the thing that they are struggling with, and Black Ops 4 has more than World War II has, or, well, actually, I'm not even sure on that, because of the remake maps, and they're not that good, and obviously World War II didn't have that great of maps, and none of these recent Call of Duty games have really memorable maps, and I think that they really need to focus their, department on the map aspect of the game. The next thing that I have is full community transparency, and I could go on forever about this one, but basically, obviously with Black Ops 4, we're not getting that. I don't really know who's working on the multiplayer. It's hard to tell what team is doing what, and nobody's really saying anything. And with Infinity Ward in Modern Warfare 4, I expected them to hopefully be a lot like Sledgehammer was during World War II, where we got lots of weekly updates about the game, and we knew what was going to be coming to the game and who was actually working on each department team. So, basically, just have a good community transparency, unlike what Treyarch is doing this year with Black Ops 4. The next point that I have is bring back the pro perks, and along with that, bring back the Ghost perk system. So, pro perks were in Call of Duty since Modern Warfare 2, I believe. They carried into Black Ops. They went into Modern Warfare 3, but those were the only 3 games where we actually saw pro perks. And if you don't know what pro perks are, if you haven't played those older Call of Duty games, basically you would have, let's say, Sleight of Hand, right? I think this was the exact version from Modern Warfare 2, where you have Sleight of Hand, you reload faster, but you level up that perk by getting challenges, by getting kills while reloading fast, and you unlock the pro ability, which is the ability to aim down sights faster, and that's pretty much what pro perks are, and they were so fun to go for, and I think that they would be a nice added feature into Modern Warfare 4, especially since Modern Warfare 3 had pro perks. And the other thing that I would say is get rid of the tier system. Now, I used to like the tier system, but I feel like if we're going based on Black Ops 4, it kind of ruins everything, and they don't really have that many perks to select from in general in Black Ops 4 anyways. But the Ghost perk tier system, I don't know if you remember it, but it was basically just like a huge chart full of perks, and you could pick whatever perks fill up to that specific point system. So, like let's say, for example, I'm not entirely sure what the points exactly were, but you would have Sleight of Hand, or I don't even think Sleight of Hand was in... No, I think, yeah, Sleight of Hand was in Ghosts, and you could have Sleight of Hand for like a 2-point value, but I remember they had that Deadeye one or something. It was like the one at the last perk where you can have extra bullet damage or something like that, and that was like a 4 or 5-point thing, because obviously it was a lot bigger of a perk to use, and it was more advantageful, but it took up more in your class, so you couldn't use that many perks, and they categorized them in terms of like speed, handling, like that, but you could select any perks you want. You weren't restricted, and I feel like that system is honestly the best perk system we had, and unfortunately it had to be in one of the most underrated Call of Duty games of all time. The next thing that I have on this list is very, very simple to understand, and I don't know why these developers think that they have to go beyond this, but just a simple user interface. Whatever happened to just hitting the back button, you see the scoreboard. Whatever happened to just loading into the multiplayer and you just have a list of create a class, this, that. In Black Ops 4, in World War II, not really so much Infinite Warfare. Infinite Warfare had a good user interface, I do have to say, as far as the menus go, but in these Call of Duty games like World War II and Black Ops 4, they just make the user interface clunky, and most of the reason is because they have to show off the microtransactions that people bought, so they make these like weird menu systems, but they should just make a simple user interface that's just easy to use, and then in the game, if they want to show off these cosmetic things, whatever, do that, but just make a simple navigational system. We don't need a convoluted system to get to options in our game. The next thing I have is the Modern Warfare 3 point streak system, and I might be split here with most of you, or some of you at least, but I feel as though the Modern Warfare 3 point streak system was the best score streak system or kill streak system in any Call of Duty game. It combined kill streaks, but it also rewarded you for capturing objectives or doing stuff like that. And I thought it was the perfect combination of a point streak or a kill streak and playing the objective and also earning your kill streaks. And Black Ops 2 changed it up and they added the score streak system, which a lot of people like. I don't really mind it myself. I think it's okay, but I would much rather prefer the point streak system. And along with the point streak system, add all the 3 categories back: the assault, the support, and the specialist. Now with support, I don't expect it to be like Modern Warfare 3 where where they have the support stealth bombers. You can make it non-lethal stuff, completely non-lethal, but, you know, having the assault package with your regular kill streaks, the support package with, like, you know, support UAVs or, like, support, you know, ammo crates like Ghost had and stuff like that. And then the Specialist Strike package, which is the only thing of Specialist I want to see in the game. It is the perk system where you pick your perks and, you know, so at 2 kills you get Quick Draw, at 4 kills you get Blind Eye, you know, and then you eventually get the Specialist bonus and you feel like that. That was an amazing feature in Modern Warfare 3, and I'm surprised it never really carried over into any other Call of Duty games. It was in Ghost, but it really wasn't that powerful, and then after that we just kind of didn't see it. I'd love to see Specialists return. There's only 3 things left here, and this one is obviously kind of obvious, so I'm not entirely sure how it's going to pan out, but lobby leaderboards, the combat record, and pretty much the fundamentals of what Call of Duty used to have at the launch of Modern Warfare 4, at launch. So, you know, right now in Black Ops 4, you know, the game's been out for months, and we don't have lobby leaderboards. They promised a combat record in the first weeks of the game, and we have no idea about that. And those are really fundamentals of Call of Duty and have been for years, and they're just not including them in Black Ops 4 for whatever reason. These things need to be in Modern Warfare 4 right from launch, or if not right at launch, a week, maybe 2 weeks max after launch. These things need to be in the game to show that you care about your community. I'm not even asking for global player counts or any kind of player count if you wish to not show that. Which I don't understand, but at least have these fundamentals in the game. The last 2 things are a lot of fun that I have found from, of course, Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3, and this first one is Infected, but the version from Modern Warfare 3. I love Infected. I mean, Ghost is pretty good as well, and Infinite Warfare, of course, if it didn't have the advanced movement or whatever, it'd still be Infected, and it still is Infected. But Modern Warfare 3, I feel, had the best Infected of any game that had Infected in, and it was the first game that had Infected in it, and it was so fun. Obviously, of course, since Modern Warfare 3 had it, I assume, and Infinity Ward knows that it's a very popular game mode, I assume Modern Warfare 4 will have it. It's one of my favorite game modes, even though it is a fun game mode, and I just love playing it. The last one is the nuke. Now, I'm not entirely sure how they did this in Infinite Warfare. I know that they had the deatomizer, but from what I could tell, the deatomizer did a couple of things. So if you were playing a certain game mode, it ended the game, or if you were playing a different game mode, it didn't, and it continued on with the game. That kind of system would be cool, but nonetheless, of course, Infinity Ward is always known for putting some kind of nuke kill streak in their game. I just hope it is a tactical nuke or a Moab or something of the sorts that we can actually obtain. You know, maybe it would be cool to even include both. Maybe the nuke can be a selectable kill streak, but the Moab is like maybe a little bit higher, so instead of a 25 or 24 or 25 kill streak, you can get a 30 kill streak and you get the Moab. So if you get 5 more kills with the nuke selected, you get the nuke and the Moab or something like that. I don't know how that would work. You know, I don't know. But either way, add in a nuke to the game and, you know, you pretty much got everyone sold on Modern Warfare 4. But that is it. It's kind of been a longer video than I did expect, but I haven't uploaded in a while, so I hope you did all enjoy this video, and I will definitely see you on whatever the next video happens to be. I'll catch you on the next one. This is NinjaGeek. I'm out, and peace.